Hello YouTube and welcome to another GV anime review. I know it has been a while since I uploaded, but the past 2 weeks have been kind of crazy, both in a very good way with my trip to China, as unfortunately also in a very bad way after that, but that is a different story. But I am back, so it is time to continue with the Spring 2018 reviews. And the anime that I'm reviewing today was another attempt at the psychological magical girl genre, being Mahou Shoujo Site or Magical Girl Site. Over the past few years, I have seen a few animes that tried to rise to the level of Puella Magi Madoka Magica, the best anime in the genre. Most of them failed, so let's see if Mahou Shoujo Site was any different. The story of Mahou Shoujo Site centers around Ayase Asagiri, a girl with not the best of lives, let's say. Her parents only care about their perfect son who uses Aya as a punching bag. She gets bullied at school, and because of all of that, Aya does have suicidal thoughts. Now one day, Aya stumbles upon a website called the Mahou Shoujo Site, where a strange, creepy girl tells her that she has been chosen to become a magical girl, and Aya receives some sort of a magical gun called a steki. Now, is this Aya's chance to change her life, or will it only throw her deeper into the abyss? For my first positive point, I start at the very beginning of the anime with the first episode. The start of this anime was so fucked up. I was really impressed by the first episode. It was so brutal. I mean, Aya was going to get raped, and because of that, the episode did something very powerful to me, being that it made me instantly hate several characters. I wanted at least 4 characters to die immediately because I truly hated them. If an anime can accomplish that in the first episode, then that is a good start to the anime. And luckily for me, something already happened at the end of that first episode, to say the least. When I started watching this anime, I immediately had to think of Mahou Shoujo Ikusei Kaku, or Magical Girl Raising Project. The setup of these two animes is practically the same, but I have to say that Mahou Shoujo Site was a bit more psychological than Mahou Shoujo Ikusei Kaku. Mahou Shoujo Ikusei Kaku was more violent, more bloody, and more deadly, while Mahou Shoujo Site was more about Aya's mental suffering that came with the use of the stekis. To me, that is an advantage, since I love psychological animes. Not that Mahou Shoujo Ikusei Kaku had less holy shit did that just happen moments, but these ones were not so direct. And for my final positive point, let's talk about one of the characters. An anime does a good job when I really attach to a character and like it. But it can also be the other way around. When I hate a character to the core, then the anime is doing an equally good job. And guess what? There was one of these characters in this anime in the form of Aya's older brother Kanami. He just needed to die. He was such a narcissistic, sadistic, ego-tripping and power-hungry piece of shit. I was actually surprised that he only physically abused Aya and not sexual as well, or at least we don't see that in the anime. So the more he suffered, the better. Having said that, that final scene, that was some really fucked up shit. Even I was like, whoa, what the fuck? Now that we're on the topic of the final episode, I have one large question about what happened. In the finale, Aya says or does something I can't perfectly remember to save a certain character. But what was that? I didn't catch that, and I don't think that it is mentioned. The problem is that what happened there is anime original. That doesn't happen in the manga. That character doesn't get saved in the original source material. And besides that, there were several other scenes that were shifted to different times in the anime compared to the manga. And another thing about the ending is that just like with Mahou Shoujo Site, this anime adaptation of Mahou Shoujo Site only tells the intro of the story. This was the prologue to the actual story. They did the same thing with Mahou Shoujo Site, where they also gave hints to what the true big story was, but end the adaptation right before they're getting there. Final negative point is that every time I watch one of these magical girl animes, I feel slightly disappointed. Maybe that's because the first magical girl anime that I watched was Puella Magi Madoka Magica, and Puella Magi Madoka Magica is one hell of an anime. To me, it is the only anime that truly succeeded in the psychological magical girl genre. It was just so different. You really got sucked into the story, and that's what I miss in all these other psychological magical girl animes. They make really good attempts at it, but not a single one of them reaches that level of disturbing darkness and despair of Puella Magi Madoka Magica. So as a conclusion, Mahou Shoujo Site was another decent attempt at the psychological magical girl genre. The fact that it didn't reach the heights of Puella Magi Madoka Magica was to be expected. That is what makes Puella Magi Madoka Magica so special. So overall, I'm going to rate Mahou Shoujo Site at 3 out of 5 stars. I remember when I did my first impressions of this anime that I said that the first episode was fire, but I kept reservations for the rest of the anime. And as I predicted, the rest of the anime wasn't as impressive as the first episode was. Also, just like with Mahou Shoujo Site, I don't expect to see a second season of this anime soon, since it was probably meant as a promotion for the manga series, and they completely changed the ending of the adaptation to give it a more suitable ending. My two recommendations are the two animes that I referred to in this review. First one being Mahou Shoujo Site or Magical Girl Raising Project. 2 years ago, I gave this anime a 4-star rating. I found it better than Mahou Shoujo Site because the story was more intriguing, it had more fucked up moments because of more characters dying, and it also effectively used all of its characters, which Mahou Shoujo Site did not, in my opinion. My second recommendation is the obvious Puella Magi Madoka Magica, the best dark magical girl anime in existence. As per usual with this anime, I am not going to tell anything, since the less you know about this anime when starting it, the better. And with that I conclude my review of Mahou Shoujo Site. As usual, you can find the full list of all my animes and reviews over at Anime Planet. As usual, I will put a link in the description box down below. Now if you want me to review a particular anime from this list, please put it in the comments. Also, if you have a recommendation for me, put it in the comments as well. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, visit me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter and subscribe to this channel for more reviews in the future. Then I will say arigatou gozaimasu and I will see you all in the next video.